The cafeteria on the alien station was never quiet. Voices of many species mixed together, sharp clicks, deep growls, and strange tones that echoed against the metal walls. But tonight, something was different. A silence spread slowly, like a shadow moving across the room. At the center of that silence sat a girl. She was human, from a death world. Her hair was dark, her eyes steady, and her body still. She did not move, not even when the noise around her grew louder. She sat at the table, eating slowly, each bite measured, each breath calm. The aliens around her whispered. They knew stories about humans from death worlds. Worlds where storms never ended, where predators hunted day and night, where survival was a fight from birth until death. Humans were not supposed to be here, in this academy, among softer species. Yet here she was, quiet, alone, and unshaken. One alien cadet, taller than the rest, noticed her silence. His skin was pale blue, his arms long and strong, his face twisted with arrogance. He was known for mocking others, for proving his strength in front of crowds. Tonight, he saw the Death World girl as his target. He slammed his hand on her table. The sound echoed through the cafeteria. "Stand up," he said, his voice sharp. "Show us if the stories are true." The girl did not move. Her eyes lifted slowly, meeting his. She did not speak. She did not blink. The crowd began to gather. Other cadets leaned closer, curious. Some laughed, some whispered warnings. "Don't test her," one muttered. "Humans are dangerous." But the bully ignored them. He wanted to see fear. He wanted to see her break. He pushed her tray aside, spilling food across the table. Still, she did not move. Her hands stayed folded, her breathing steady. The silence grew heavier. Every second felt longer. The crowd waited for her reaction, but nothing came. She was a statue, calm and cold. The bully leaned closer, his shadow falling across her face. "Are you deaf?" "I said stand." His voice rose, sharp and mocking. She looked at him, her gaze steady, her lips pressed together. The air around her seemed to thicken. The crowd felt it too. Something was building, something unseen but powerful. Another alien laughed nervously. "Maybe she is afraid." But the girl's eyes told a different story. They were not the eyes of fear. They were the eyes of someone waiting, someone measuring, someone ready. The bully grew louder, slamming the table again. "You think you're better than us? You think your death world makes you strong?" He shoved her chair slightly, trying to force her to stand. Still, she did not move. The crowd's laughter faded. Whispers turned into silence. Every alien felt the tension, the weight of her stillness. It was not weakness. It was something else. Something dangerous. The bully's face twisted with anger. He wanted control. He wanted to prove himself. He leaned closer, his hand reaching out. The girl's eyes narrowed. The cafeteria held its breath. Every second stretched longer, like the pause before a storm. The crowd could feel it, the moment before something breaks. The bully's hand hovered near her shoulder. He wanted to push her, to force her to react. He wanted to show everyone that humans were nothing but myths. But the girl remained calm. Her silence was louder than his shouting. Her stillness was heavier than his strength. The crowd waited. The bully's hand touched her shoulder. And in that instant, the air changed. Her eyes flashed, sharp and cold. Her body moved, but only slightly. A sound cracked through the silence, sharp, final, terrifying. The bully froze. His body stiffened. His neck twisted unnaturally. The crowd gasped. The girl sat exactly as before, calm, unmoved. Her hands folded, her breathing steady. She had not stood. She had not shouted. She had not even broken her silence. But the bully was broken. The cafeteria fell into complete silence. No one laughed. No one spoke. Every alien stared at her, their eyes wide, their bodies tense. She looked at them, her gaze heavy, unblinking. The silence stretched on. The crowd realized the truth. She was not weak. She was not afraid. She was dangerous beyond measure. And she had proven it without standing. The cafeteria was frozen in silence. The body of the alien bully lay twisted on the floor, his neck bent at an unnatural angle. No one moved. No one spoke. The Deathworld girl sat exactly as before, her hands folded, her breathing calm, her eyes steady. The crowd of cadets stared at her. Fear spread through them like fire. They had seen fights before, loud and messy, but this was different. She had not stood. She had not shouted. She had ended him with a single motion, faster than anyone could see. Whispers began to rise. "Did you see that?" one alien muttered. "She didn't even move." Another shook his head, his voice trembling. "Humans, they are monsters." But not everyone was afraid. Some were angry. The bully had been one of their own, a cadet from a respected family. His friends stepped forward, their faces twisted with rage. One of them, a tall alien with sharp tusks, pointed at her. "You think you can kill one of us and sit there like nothing happened?" His voice shook the silence. "You will pay for this." The girl did not answer. She looked at him, her gaze heavy, unblinking. The tusked alien slammed his fist against the table. "Stand up," he shouted. "Face us properly." Still, she did not move. The crowd shifted nervously. Some backed away, sensing danger. Others leaned closer, curious to see what would happen next. The tension grew thicker, pressing down on everyone in the room. Another alien, smaller but quicker, stepped forward. His eyes glowed with anger. "She thinks she is untouchable. Let us show her." He moved closer, circling her chair, his steps sharp against the floor. The girl's eyes followed him, but her body remained still. The tusked alien growled. "We will break you." He reached for her tray, throwing it across the floor. Food scattered, clattering against the metal. The girl did not flinch. Her silence was heavier than their shouting. Her calmness was sharper than their rage. The crowd felt it. Every second stretched longer, every breath louder. The Deathworld girl was not afraid. She was waiting. The smaller alien leaned closer, his face inches from hers. "Say something," he hissed. "Show us you are alive." Her lips parted slightly. Her voice was low, steady, and cold. "You should stop." The words were simple, but they carried weight. The crowd shivered. The tusked alien laughed harshly. "Stop. You killed our friend. You think we will stop?" He raised his hand, ready to strike. The girl's eyes narrowed. The crowd held its breath. The tusked alien's hand came down, fast and heavy. But before it touched her, her arm moved. It was a blur. A sound cracked through the air. His wrist bent backward, bones snapping. He screamed, falling to his knees, clutching his broken arm. The cafeteria erupted in gasps. The girl sat exactly as before, calm, unmoved. Her breathing steady, her eyes cold. The smaller alien froze. His anger turned to fear. He stepped back, his body trembling. The crowd whispered again. She didn't stand. She broke him without effort. She is dangerous. The tusked alien groaned on the floor, his pride shattered along with his bones. The girl looked at the smaller alien. Her voice was calm. "Do you want to try?" He shook his head quickly, backing away. His courage was gone. The crowd grew restless. Some wanted to leave, afraid of being next. Others stayed, unable to look away. The silence was heavy, broken only by the groans of the injured bully and his friend. The girl sat still, her presence filling the room. She was not loud, not violent, but her calmness was more terrifying than any weapon. Another alien, older and wiser, stepped forward. His voice was low, cautious. She is from a death world. Do you not understand? Silence is survival. Stillness is power. You cannot fight her. The crowd listened. His words carried truth. But anger still burned in some. She cannot stay here, one shouted. She is too dangerous. The girl's eyes turned to him. Her gaze was heavy, sharp. He fell silent, his courage fading. The cafeteria remained tense. No one dared to move closer. No one dared to test her again. The Deathworld girl sat quietly, her presence stronger than any shout, her silence louder than any threat. The crowd realized the truth. She was not weak. She was not afraid. She was something else entirely. She was human. And humans from Deathworlds were not to be tested. The cafeteria air was heavy, thick with fear and tension. Two aliens already lay broken, one with a twisted neck, another clutching his shattered wrist. Yet the Deathworld girl sat still, calm, her eyes steady, her breathing slow. She had not stood. She had not raised her voice. The crowd of cadets whispered nervously. Some wanted to leave, but curiosity held them in place. They had never seen power like this. They had never seen silence used as a weapon. But anger still burned in the hearts of the bullies' closest friends. They could not accept defeat. They could not accept that a human, a Deathworlder, had humiliated them in front of everyone. One of them, a broad alien with scales across his arms, stepped forward. His voice was low, filled with rage. You think you are untouchable? You think you can sit there and break us one by one? The girl looked at him. Her gaze was cold, unblinking. She did not answer. The scaled alien snarled. We will end you. He turned to the others. Together. 3 aliens moved forward, circling her chair. Their steps echoed against the metal floor. The crowd gasped, pulling back, giving them space. The girl sat still. Her hands folded, her body calm. The scaled alien leaned closer, his shadow falling across her face. Stand up, he demanded. Fight us properly. Her lips parted slightly. Her voice was soft, steady. You should not. The words carried weight. The crowd shivered. But the aliens ignored her warning. The first alien lunged, his claws reaching for her throat. The second swung his arm, aiming for her head. The third moved behind her, ready to strike from the back. The cafeteria held its breath. And then it happened. Her body moved, but only slightly. A blur of motion, faster than eyes could follow. The first alien's arm bent backward with a sharp crack. He screamed, falling to the floor. The second alien's strike never landed. His elbow twisted, bones snapping, his body collapsing in pain. The third alien froze mid-attack. Her hand had caught his wrist, her grip like iron. His eyes widened in terror. He tried to pull away, but her fingers did not move. She looked at him, her gaze heavy. Enough. And then his wrist broke. The cafeteria erupted in gasps and cries. The crowd stepped back, fear spreading like wildfire. The 3 aliens lay on the floor, groaning, broken. The girl sat exactly as before, calm, unmoved. Her breathing steady, her eyes cold. She had not stood. She had not shouted. She had ended them with simple, precise motions. The silence was unbearable. Every alien in the room felt it pressing down on them. The scaled alien, still standing, froze in place. His rage melted into fear. He looked at her, his body trembling. She turned her gaze to him. Her eyes were sharp, unblinking. He stepped back slowly, his courage gone. The crowd whispered. She broke them without effort. She is unstoppable. She is human. The scaled alien shook his head, his voice trembling. You are not normal. You are a monster. The girl's voice was calm. On my world, monsters are everywhere. We learn to survive. Her words cut deeper than her actions. The crowd felt the truth in them. The scaled alien backed away, his pride shattered. He could not face her. He could not fight her. The cafeteria remained silent. No one dared to move closer. No one dared to test her again. The Deathworld girl sat quietly, her presence stronger than any weapon, her silence louder than any threat. The crowd realized the truth. She was not weak. She was not afraid. She was something else entirely. She was human. And humans from Deathworlds were not to be tested. The cafeteria was no longer a place of noise and laughter. It had become a place of silence, heavy and sharp. The broken bodies of the bullies lay scattered across the floor, groaning in pain. The Deathworld girl sat still, her hands folded, her breathing calm. She had not stood. She had not shouted. Yet she had ended them all. The crowd of cadets stared at her, their eyes wide, their bodies tense. Fear spread through them like a wave. They had seen fights before, but never like this. She had not fought with rage. She had not fought with noise. She had fought with silence, with precision, with deadly calm. Whispers rose among them. She is dangerous. She is not normal. She is human. Some cadets stepped back, their courage gone. Others stayed, unable to look away. They felt trapped between fear and fascination. The Deathworld girl looked at them, her gaze heavy, unblinking. Her eyes moved slowly across the crowd, meeting each face. Wherever her gaze landed, silence followed. No one dared to speak. No one dared to move. One young alien, trembling, whispered to his friend. She didn't even stand. His voice shook. She broke them sitting down. The friend nodded, his face pale. If she can do that without moving, what can she do if she stands? The thought spread quickly. The crowd imagined it, and the fear grew stronger. The cafeteria doors opened. More cadets entered, curious about the silence. They saw the broken bullies, the frozen crowd, and the girl sitting calmly at the center. Confusion turned to fear as whispers reached them. She killed him without standing. She broke them without effort. She is from a death world. The new arrivals stepped back, their curiosity fading. They understood quickly, this was not a normal fight. This was something else. The girl remained calm. She did not speak. She did not move. Her silence was louder than any shout. The broken bullies groaned on the floor, their pride shattered along with their bones. Their friends did not help them. Fear kept them frozen. Finally, one older cadet spoke. His voice was low, cautious. Do you not understand? She is from a death world. On her world, silence is survival. Stillness is power. You cannot fight her. The crowd listened. His words carried truth. But anger still lingered in some. She cannot stay here, one shouted, though his voice trembled. She is too dangerous. The girl's eyes turned to him. Her gaze was sharp, unblinking. He fell silent, his courage fading instantly. The cafeteria remained tense. No one dared to move closer. No one dared to test her again. The Deathworld girl sat quietly, her presence filling the room. She was not loud, not violent, but her calmness was more terrifying than any weapon. The cadets realized the truth. She was not weak. She was not afraid. She was something else entirely. She was human. And humans from Deathworlds were not to be tested. The silence stretched on. The crowd felt trapped in it, unable to escape. Every second felt longer, heavier. Finally, the girl spoke. Her voice was low, steady. On my world, we do not waste words. We act when we must. Her words cut through the silence like a blade. The cadets shivered. They understood. She had not acted out of anger. She had acted because she had to. The broken bullies groaned again, their pain echoing across the room. The crowd looked at them, then back at her. The difference was clear. They were weak. She was strong. The cafeteria doors closed. No one entered. No one left. The room was trapped in her presence. The cadets whispered again. She is legend. She is unstoppable. She is human. The girl sat quietly, her silence heavier than any threat. The crowd realized the truth. They would never forget this moment. They would never forget her. She had become a story, a warning, a legend. The Deathworld girl who broke alien bullies without standing. The cafeteria was still heavy with silence. The broken bullies lay scattered across the floor, groaning in pain. The crowd of cadets stood frozen, their eyes wide, their bodies tense. No one dared to move closer. No one dared to speak. The Deathworld girl sat quietly, her hands folded, her breathing calm. She had not stood. She had not shouted. Yet she had ended them all. Her silence was louder than any threat, heavier than any weapon. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was low, steady, and cold. On my world, silence is survival. Stillness is power. You should have listened. The words cut through the silence like a blade. The cadets shivered. They understood now. She had not acted out of anger. She had acted because she had to. One young alien, trembling, whispered to his friend. She warned them. She told them to stop. His voice shook. They didn't listen. The friend nodded, his face pale. And now they are broken. The girl's eyes moved slowly across the crowd, meeting each face. Wherever her gaze landed, silence followed. No one dared to speak. No one dared to challenge her. She continued, her voice calm. On my world, we learn from birth that noise brings death. Predators hear it. Enemies sense it. Silence keeps us alive. Stillness keeps us hidden. We act only when we must. And when we act, it is final. The cadets listened, their fear growing stronger. They realized the truth. She was not weak. She was not afraid. She was something else entirely. One older cadet stepped forward cautiously. His voice was low, respectful. You are teaching us, he said. You are showing us what it means to survive. The girl looked at him, her gaze steady. Survival is not strength. Survival is necessity. On my world, we do not fight for pride. We fight to live. That is why you cannot understand. Her words carried weight. The crowd felt it pressing down on them. They realized their mistake. They had mocked her silence, thinking it was weakness. But silence was her weapon. Silence was her shield. The broken bullies groaned again, their pain echoing across the room. The cadets looked at them, then back at her. The difference was clear. They were weak. She was strong. The girl's voice was calm. You thought noise made you powerful. You thought shouting made you feared. But noise is weakness. Noise is distraction. Silence is strength. Silence is focus. Silence is survival. The cadets shivered. Her words were simple, but they carried truth. One young alien whispered, his voice trembling. She is not just dangerous. She is wise. The crowd nodded slowly. They understood now. She was not a monster. She was a survivor. She was human. The girl looked at them, her gaze heavy. You should remember this. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not mistake stillness for fear. On my world, silence is the last warning. Stillness is the last chance. If you ignore it, you will not survive. Her words echoed across the cafeteria. The cadets felt them sink deep into their minds. They would never forget them. The broken bullies lay on the floor, their pride shattered. Their friends did not help them. Fear kept them frozen. The girl sat quietly, her presence stronger than any weapon, her silence louder than any threat. The crowd realized the truth. She had given them a lesson. She had shown them the meaning of survival. She was human. And humans from Deathworlds were not to be tested. The silence stretched on. The cadets felt trapped in it, unable to escape. Every second felt longer, heavier. Finally, the older cadet spoke again. His voice was low, respectful. We will remember your words. We will not forget this lesson. The girl nodded slightly. Her eyes remained steady, her body calm. She had said what needed to be said. She had taught them the truth. The cafeteria remained silent. No one dared to move closer. No one dared to test her again. The Deathworld girl sat quietly, her silence heavier than any threat, her calmness sharper than any blade. The cadets realized the truth. They would never forget this moment. They would never forget her words. She had become a story, a warning, a legend. The Deathworld girl who taught silence through fear. The cafeteria remained silent long after the fight was over. The broken bullies lay on the floor, groaning in pain, their pride shattered. The crowd of cadets stood frozen, their eyes wide, their bodies tense. No one dared to move closer. No one dared to speak. The Deathworld girl sat quietly, her hands folded, her breathing calm. She had not stood. She had not shouted. Yet she had ended them all. Her silence was louder than any threat, heavier than any weapon. Word spread quickly. Cadets whispered to each other, their voices low, their faces pale. She broke them without standing. She killed him without effort. She is from a death world. The whispers traveled beyond the cafeteria. They reached the halls, the dorms, the training rooms. Soon, the entire academy knew the story. The Deathworld girl had faced alien bullies and destroyed them without moving. Fear spread through the academy. Cadets avoided her in the halls. They did not sit near her in class. They did not speak to her in the cafeteria. Her silence followed her everywhere, heavier than any shadow. But respect also grew. Some cadets looked at her with awe. They saw her not as a monster, but as a survivor. They understood her words. Silence was survival. Stillness was power. She had taught them a lesson they would never forget. Instructors heard the story too. They watched her carefully, their eyes cautious. They knew humans were dangerous, but they had never seen it so clearly. They began to speak of her in private meetings. She is different. She is stronger than the rest. We must be careful. The broken bullies were taken to the medical wing. Their bodies healed slowly, but their pride never recovered. They avoided her completely, their courage gone. They knew they had been defeated, not by noise or rage, but by silence and calm. The girl continued her routine. She attended classes, trained in the gym, ate in the cafeteria. She did everything quietly, calmly. She did not seek attention. She did not boast. She did not explain herself. But her presence was enough. Wherever she went, silence followed. Cadets whispered behind her back, but never to her face. They feared her gaze, her calmness, her silence. Rumors grew. Some said she could kill with a glance. Others said she could break bones with a thought. The truth was simpler, but the rumors made her legend stronger. Soon, her story spread beyond the academy. Visitors heard whispers. Traders carried tales. Other stations began to speak of her. The Deathworld girl who broke alien bullies without standing. Her legend grew. Some feared her. They called her dangerous, a threat to peace. Others respected her. They called her wise, a teacher of survival. But all remembered her silence. One evening, as she sat alone in the cafeteria, a young cadet approached her. His steps were slow, his body tense. He stopped a few feet away, his voice trembling. "I want to learn," he said. "Teach me how to survive." The girl looked at him, her gaze steady. She did not answer at once. She let the silence stretch, heavy and sharp. Then she spoke, her voice calm. "Survival is not strength. Survival is necessity. If you want to learn, you must first understand silence." The cadet nodded quickly, his fear mixed with respect. He stepped back, bowing his head. He understood that her lesson was not about fighting. It was about living. More cadets began to approach her, carefully, respectfully. They wanted to learn. They wanted to understand. She did not teach with long speeches. She taught with silence, with calmness, with presence. Her legend grew stronger. The academy changed. Cadets began to train differently. They learned to move quietly, to act only when necessary. They learned to respect silence, to fear stillness. The instructors noticed. They saw the change in their students. They saw the influence of the Deathworld girl. Some worried. Others approved. But none could deny her power. The girl remained calm. She did not seek followers. She did not seek fame. She lived as she always had, quietly, steadily. But her silence taught more than any words. The broken bullies avoided her completely. They never spoke of that day. They never challenged her again. Their silence was their admission of defeat. The crowd of cadets remembered. They told the story again and again. Each time, the details grew sharper, the legend stronger. She sat quietly. They mocked her. She warned them. They ignored her. She broke them without standing. The story spread across the stars. Other stations heard it. Other species whispered it. The legend of the Deathworld girl became known far beyond the academy. She had become more than a student. She had become a warning, a symbol, a myth. The Deathworld girl who faced alien bullies and broke them without moving. Her silence was survival. Her stillness was power. And her legend would never die.